Hi and welcome to Inspirational STEM. My name is Harish. So today we're going to do a problem set on exponents and see what rules we can apply. Okay, so very first question we have is 4 to the power of negative 3 divided by 6 to the power of negative 2. So we're going to use this rule right here where when we have a negative exponent, we're going to send that to the denominator from the numerator and from the denominator to the numerator. So what that does is it makes the exponents positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that here. So we are going to have, we're going to have 6 squared divided by 4 to the cube in the denominator. Okay, so all we did was we sent the one from the numerator into the denominator and from the denominator into the numerator and made the exponents positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate that. So 6 squared is going to be 36. And then we have 4 cubed, which is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and simplify that. And so the very first, easiest way to simplify this would be to divide with 2. So you have 18 and then divide by 2 again with the 64. So that gives us 32. And we keep going on with that and we get 9 divided by 16 as our final answer because this cannot be simplified any further. Okay, all right, so that's our first one. Let's go to our next problem. So our next problem is essentially 1000 to the power of 0 divided by 10 cubed. So the rule that we're going to apply here is essentially anything to the power of 0 is going to be 1. Okay, so 1000 to the power of 0 is going to be 1. So we're going to write it as 1 divided by 10 cubed is 10 times 10 times 10. So 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1000. So 1 divided by 1000. That's going to be our final answer for this one. And we used this rule right here. Okay, all right, let's move on to our next problem. So our next problem is going to use the addition and subtraction rule of exponents. So when you have exponents with a similar base, like in this case 10, and you have exponents and negative or positives, rule we're going to use is here, right here. So we have x to the power of negative m times x to the power of n. So that turns into x, since the base is the same, we're going to use x and then n minus m. So we're just basically adding or subtracting the exponents up. In this case, these two right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. So we're going to combine the base, just write a single 10 right here, and then we're going to just add and subtract all the exponents. So we have negative 4, and then we have minus 2, and then we have plus 8. Okay, so that gives us negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6 plus 8, so that gives us 10 squared. So 10 to the power of positive 2. Okay, because 8 minus 6 gives us positive 2. So now that is, of course, 100. So that's going to be our final answer. All right. Very good. Let's move on to the next one. This is a very similar problem. Let's just go ahead and get some practice on this. So except that we have to be careful of the bases here. So we see that 8 to the power of 6 and 8 to the power of negative 5 can be used. The rule of addition and subtraction of exponents can be done for those, but not for 5 squared, because 5 has is a different number from 8 essentially. Okay, let's go ahead and try this. So we're going to write this as, so we're going to write these together. So we have 8 to the power of 6 minus 5. So 6 minus 5. And then we have 5 squared, which is 25. Okay. All right. Okay, so 8, so that gives us 8 to the 6 minus 5 is 1, so that's 8 times 25. So that is 25 times 4 is 100, 25 times 8 is 200. Okay, so that's going to be our final answer. 200. All right. Okay, excellent. Let's move on. Let's see, go to a little more complicated problem where we're using several different rules of exponents. So in this case, what do we have in the numerator? Let's go ahead and calculate that first. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel the 3 to the power of 0 and write it as 1. So we have 3, and we can combine the 3's in the numerator. So 3 to the, when you have nothing, it means it's the power of 1. 1 minus 5, because what we have is -5 here in the second 3, and then we wrote 3 to the power 0 as 1. And then in the denominator, we have 3 to the power of -1. We'll deal with that in just a second right here. So I'm going to write this as 3 to the power of -4, 3 to the power of -4 divided by 3 to the power of -1. Now, I don't want to necessarily take the denominator and move it to the numerator, and then the numerator and move it to the denominator. That's going to create us extra work. So all I'm going to look at and see is where the power is higher. And if you want the answer to be written as a positive exponent, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the numerator onto the denominator in this case. I hope you understand the logic behind that, because we just want to leave it with the highest exponent that will remain positive. So in this case, I'm just going to write it as numerator as 1, and in the denominator, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 3 to the power of 4, which is this 3 we just brought, -4 which we brought to the denominator, and then we have, of course, a 3 to the power of -1. So let's go ahead and combine these, and so what we will receive is 1 divided by 3 to the power of 4 minus 1 is 3. So we have 1 divided by 3 to the power of 3, or 3 cubed, which is 27. So basically we're going to write this as 1 divided by 27 as a rule. Unless it's if it's not specified, just bring it to the simplest form that you can possibly bring the answer to, and then leave it at that. I mean, I would not leave the answer as 1 divided by 3 cubed, because there is a simpler form for that, is 1 divided by 27. Just make sure you go all the way, even if you're not asked to do so, because you may lose a point or else. Okay. All right, so that's all for today. And if you like this video, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you have any questions about exponents or any other problems that you'd like to see, please leave me a comment below, and I would be happy to make a video on that. All right, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.